Today on Marketplace finds we have a very rare and unique Nissan Atlas, a Volkswagen Jetta painted to match the classic Dukes of Hazzard's Dodge Charger, and a Chevrolet Camaro turned Trike. Don't have the budget for a General Lee? Well, now you can have this General Vee. That's right, a Volkswagen Jetta painted to match the classic Dukes of Hazzard's 1969 Dodge Charger. Ignoring the rattle can over sprayed paint job, this thing could be yours for only $2,250, which honestly for a 2011 vehicle is pretty cheap if you don't mind having the finger pulled at you time to time. The owner reports the car was gifted to them, and fair enough, I'd probably say the same thing if I was selling that. It also supposedly has a coolant leak that would only cost $50 to $100 to fix, but that always seems to be code for a bad head gasket. Next up we have a 1969 Chevrolet Camaro body that has been placed onto a 1998 Honda Valkyrie for a pretty interesting trike conversion. It apparently has Volkswagen front suspension along with disc brakes, but unfortunately there is no photos of that or the interior. The owner is after $9,000, and considering it still needs a fair bit of work to get back on the road, I think they're asking for far too much. This next one is a doozy, as we had what used to be a classic Volkswagen van listed up for only $1,000. From the photos and description we can see why it was up for so cheap, as for some unforsaken reason someone shortened it into a minivan. There's a bit of a cult following for these, so it's a bit sad to see it's just sat out in the weather to rust away like this, especially as they get even rarer as time goes on. It sold pretty quickly, not including the wheels and engine, so there must be some parts worth taking for someone's project. If you're a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, well, do I have the car for you. This 2009 Volkswagen Rabbit has just been listed for $6,500. As you can see, it's a DBZ lover's dream, with this huge livery going down the side of the car and a Vegeta banner across the windshield, and if you look closely, you can make out the DBZ themed seat covers. But even more surprising than that is this absolutely insane looking speaker setup. That's right, they have literally molded all of these speakers into the door card somehow, and the trunk setup is even more insane. I'll be honest, I have no clue why people do this stuff, but hey, if you're into it, it's going for $6,500. I bet you'd have no clue what this car is without the listing information, as here we have a 1996 Ford Thunderbird that has a crazy body kit resembling a classic 1949 Ford. These came as a do-it-yourself kit for around $9,300, not including things such as older style rims and paint work that's needed, so probably closer to the $12,000 mark if not more. This one has a 3.8 V6 and only 55,000 miles on it, and the exterior paint seems to match the interior color. The owner is looking for $12,500, so basically the same as what the kit cost, but still pretty steep for what it is. I had no clue this vehicle even existed until seeing this marketplace listing. It's a 1995 Nissan Atlas Loco, which is an extremely rare version of the Atlas, as there's basically no information on them online. As you can see, it's probably the ugliest or most unique looking van you've ever seen, and I'm sure would start a few gas station conversations. Most of the time the Atlas comes as a mini pickup truck that look nothing like this spec, and some equally as rare came with a full camping setup in the back. It has 96,000 miles and is 4x4 with a manual gearbox, and the owner is looking for $20,000, which again, I have no idea how much these goofy cars go for. If you're wanting to start up an ice cream truck, this may be the pick for you. Ever wanted to own a squatted truck, but you still live with your parents? Do I have the buy for you? This 2006 squatted mower is up for offers, or trade ready to cruise the Walmart parking lot for all to see. Don't worry about those tiny welds on the front axles barely holding on. Just make sure to wear a helmet before they snap, so you don't need to head to the dentist after kissing the steering wheel. The owner of this beast nicknamed this vehicle the Franken Stang, and you can easily see why. It's been made by putting a 2008 Mustang body onto a Chevy pickup chassis with a Dodge 400 big block V8 and these massive 44-inch tires. It is apparently almost road legal somehow, just needing some final touch-ups, and was built to be a rock crawler. The owner is asking for $15,000, but would be interested in some odd trades, such as saying they would trade for spray foam insulation. Not the most typical funeral car you've probably seen, as here we have a 2000 Cadillac DeVille that has been converted into a two-door pickup flower car. If you don't want to get haunted, this one's probably not for you, but with only 86,000 miles and asking for $3,800, it might be worth it. The seller reports that it has a clean interior and runs and drives great, just needing some body work, which if you look closely, you can see that passenger side roof seems to need some attention. Next up is an awesome build that unfortunately the owner's wife found out about and stopped it in its tracks. It's a 1975 Datsun 280Z with a huge list of tasteful mods that just needs that last 10% to be finished. It's got no rust, a straight frame with a freshly built LS along with built cams and heads, which is paired to a T56 Magnum 6-speed, upgraded brakes, new suspension, and a bunch of other extremely good mods. The owner is after a huge $42,000, which considering the cost of the car and the full mod list does seem a bit high, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone snatched it up. They ended their marketplace listing saying, "Please get permission from your wife before you make an offer to avoid this happening again." The owner of this next vehicle has a warning saying this beast is, quote, "not your daily driver, definitely for the car enthusiasts," which at first I thought was a joke, but as you read further on and see more pictures, unfortunately they aren't joking. If the anime waifu sticker collection doesn't make you cringe, I'm sure the straight pipe the owner brags about claiming it pops and bangs will. Not only does it seem a bit off putting all these Japanese stickers on a car that's made from the opposite side of the world, I'm not even sure the driver can see out of most of their windows from all of them. Unfortunately, there were no interior photos, but I think we can all imagine what that looked and probably smelled like, and they didn't list a price as they wanted to see what trades they would get offered, which was met with a fair few laughing reacts. I don't know where to start on this 2005 Scion TC, as it hits every stereotypical Scion owner mods to a T. This one has a giant wing because you know it needs that downforce for that huge 112 horsepower, some fake carbon over fenders, some canards, and the absolute classic monster claw sticker headlight. I can only assume the carbon hood is probably just a wrap given the other mods. Even the description is a classic, with the owner stating the engine is 100 and the transmission is 100, so if that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will. They're looking for $3,000 but made no mention of the mileage, and considering the rest of the car, I'd stay away. Nothing says bargain like a marketplace post that says no title and costs $500. With only 2 pictures and the description to go off, we have what was a 2005 Honda Accord that got written off, so the owner decided to turn it into a Trike. It apparently does run and drive, ignoring the fact that there seems to be no brakes, but at least you get a cool steering tube that says badass on it. This interesting wagon project is a 1955 Willys Jeep with this woody wagon conversion that according to the post has been done by a lifelong craftsman and classic car restorer over 8 years. After seeing how tidy this woodwork is, especially the details like the ceiling and gate, I'd believe it. It's obvious a lot of time and effort has gone into this conversion, but unfortunately the seller is getting a bit too up there in age, so has decided to sell. It has a 327 Chevy small block sitting in the engine bay, mated to a T5 transmission that needs to be finished off. The owner is wanting $4,000, and I feel like that's a fair price for the quality of work put into this car that could be finished within a short time. Next up is this 2000 Chevy mud truck that has seen some better days. It has a 6-litre LS mated to a 400 turbo, and that's about where the good ends. The owner states that it's all homemade, and that checks out if you look close enough to some of the pictures underneath the truck, like that booger welded mount right there. It has also apparently been sitting for a few years and needs a stub shaft alongside some unlisted work. The owner initially wanted $8,000, but unsurprisingly, after not getting any bites, has slowly dropped it down to $5,000, so basically what it's worth in parts. Here we have a 1989 Lincoln Town Car with a bunch of interesting exterior modifications. Now I won't lie, I don't know a huge amount about these things, but just from looking at it, you can see all the custom work that has gone into it. From the gold trims and custom emblems all over, and especially that trunk work, you can tell a lot of time and effort has been put into it. It only has 43,000 miles, with the brakes and transmission recently been done. The owner is after $14,000, which I honestly have no clue what these sell for. But considering they updated their listing, saying 75 people had messaged him, I can only assume it's a good price. This unique looking car is a 1996 Suzuki X90 imported from Japan. Looking like a squashed SUV, these unique things are fairly rare these days and seem to be jumping up in price as more people learn of their existence. They come with 4-wheel drive if you need to drive it through a sandpit, and even T-top roof so you can take it off on those hot days. As you can see, the trunk space is a bit limited, so maybe not the best for those big road trips. This one comes with a 1.6 litre engine, so plenty of grunt for its small size. The owner is after $11,000, and honestly will probably get it as these things get rarer and rarer. Destroyed the front end of your Challenger hitting a pole? Well, just do what the seller did by swapping a Hummer front end onto it and pretend it was part of the build. For sale, with a rebuilt title for only $5,500, this 2013 Challenger Hummer Hybrid could be yours. It has the 5.7 Hemi with a manual transmission, and even better, has no ABS, no traction control and no airbags. Joking aside, this thing would be awesome to bash around an old wheat field, especially at that price tag. Thanks for watching another episode of Golden Garage. If you enjoyed and want to see more videos from us, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next video.